we are meeting for our self-realizations program. And I must say, the self-realization program it is every 3 weeks. Where I remember we had a big meeting, about starting this self-realization program, where I said that it was a very important point, very important segment during our when we were live, when we were doing physical programs. And we used to meet during the and have self-realization during our prasadam time. So here during online program, we're missing out on that. So what should we do? And I was the opinion that we should do regularly, every week or something. Long discussion was happening, and I remember that we had Namrata Mataji suggesting, no, we should do every 3 weeks. I wasn't very keen about this. 3 weeks. It was Swati Mataji. Then afterwards, she said, yes, that's right. We should do 3 weeks. She was seconded it. And after Swati Mataji, my wife also said, yes, you should do 3 weeks. So Mataji's this thing, that foresight that we have got this programs every third week. Now I think we should be doing a bit every 4 weeks or something. It's coming a bit too soon. I don't know about you guys. What do you think? We should do every 3 weeks? Every 4 weeks? Yeah, I think we should do. We'll see how it goes. But I think every 4 weeks is a good time for doing it. But anyway, we are here now. It's wonderful. It's the best way. Starting this self-realization program, I said that it is the best way to actually understand and find out how's everybody is doing. What are they studying? If they have any questions, etc. So here we start, and we are. I think everybody is now got into the routine of giving their realizations, self-realizations, and yeah, I think so. I think we should also hear everybody individually speak too. All right. So let us start with our discussion today, and who would like to start the discussion? Start with the realizations, please.
Hare Krishna, Babuji. I'll start.
For you.
Okay. Hare Krishna, dear devotees. And thank you, Amrish Prabhu, for organizing this program and giving opportunity to speak. I would like to share my realization. It's post Prabhuji posted on Facebook. One should not be morose or unhappy. In this material world, everything happens under the influence of time. Consequently, for a learned person who sees how things are taking place, there is no question of being sorry or happy because of the waves of material nature. After all, since we are being carried away by these waves, what is the meaning of being jubilant or morose? One who is fully conversant with the laws of nature is never jubilant or morose because of nature's activities. In Bhagavad-Gita chapter 2 verse 14, Krishna advised that one be tolerant, tamas titikshava bharata. Following this advice of Krishna's, one should not be morose or unhappy because of circumstantial changes. This is the symptom of a devotee. Srila Prabhupada in purport to Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 8, chapter 11, verse 8. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. So, what I realize from these points, that if we are in ignorance and don't know the real truth, we're going to be morose and unhappy. Srila Prabhupada quoted this verse, Bhagavad Gita chapter 2, verse 14. I would like to recite that. Matra sparsastu konteya sitoshna sukha dukkada agamapai no nitya
Navina,
stitikshava
can you bring the tall
bharata.
stool upstairs?
O son of Kunti, the non-permanent appearance of happiness and distress and their disappearance in due course are like the appearance and disappearance of winter and summer seasons. They arise from sense perception. O Syan of Bharat, and one must learn to tolerate them without being disturbed. So here Lord Krishna telling Arjuna to tolerate the happiness and distress because they come from sense perception. Now we are in this material body and we have senses. So as long as we are in this on sensory level or mental platform, then we are bound to get disturbed by these ups and downs. Most of the time, generally people engaged in eating, sleeping, mating, and defending, which is common in animal life also. So what is the difference between animal and human being? As a human, we got developed consciousness and we can inquire why I'm suffering. What is the purpose of life? Only then we can become human being in a true sense. Srila Prabhupada said, for a learned person who sees how things are taking place. So this seeing how things are taking place is a dhira person. We react to situations and get bewildered. The message is to tolerate. Toleration comes from Krishna. We cannot tolerate each other. We cannot tolerate even a little comfort or discomfort in our lives if we are not Krishna consciousness. There was a big talk of intolerance in India lately.
Not Krishna conscious,
Krishna conscious.
not Krishna consciousness. Yeah.
Yes, sorry about that. So yes, so we cannot tolerate even a little discomfort in our lives if we are not Krishna conscious. There was big talk of intolerance in India lately. We can only tolerate each other if we have higher understanding. Vasudeva Sarvamiti. With this understanding, we can tolerate happiness and distress. In distress, we naturally go to God for relief, but how to tolerate happiness? In good times, we forget God. This is the test if we really Krishna conscious. Then we remember Krishna in any situation. This is the symptom of a devotee. Srila Prabhupada said, one should be not morose or unhappy because of circumstantial changes. Yes, our circumstances changes because we are under the influence of time. What is time? Time is Krishna's energy. That's how a devotee sees this. Krishna says in Bhagavad-Gita, I am time and I take away everything. So I realize that to get this higher understanding, we need to come under the guidance of pure devotee of the Lord and learn this science step by step. Then we will be able to tolerate happiness and distress. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Sanjay Prabhu. Thank you very much. You always start the program. We always need a leader. From here, we can make out who's not introvert, who's extrovert, who's a leader, who's a born leader. We can find out. I always face this situation, when you sit in a meeting, they will say, you speak, you speak, you speak, you speak, and nobody's speaking, and then out start to speak, then suddenly they'll all start to speak. And then one day I did not speak only. Then everybody kept quiet. They all want to be behind, and then they show they are big. Good. So we are all leaders. We are all leaders. Very nice. Okay, who would like to take the lead now? Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Thank you, Sanjay Prabhu, for your nice realization, and thank you, Amrish Prabhu, for giving us an opportunity to give our realization. My realization is from Srimad Bhagavatam in practice, Maharaj's lecture in 2009 in Abu Dhabi. And that was regarding settlement of all our material accounts. So Maharaj says that our foremost material account is our attachment with the body, and 90% of our time is spent on body, and this account has to be settled before we settle in any of other things. Maharaj says, for this we have to remember the one which is mentioned in Srimad Bhagavatam Mahatmya, chapter 4, verse 79. Give up the thought that this body is you. It is nothing but the collection of bones, flesh, and blood. Give up the ownership on wife, children, etc., and realize that this world is temporary. Show interest and release detachment from everything by performing devotional service unto the primeval Lord Govinda with great determination. So actually, what Maharaj says here, that is nothing belongs to us. And also Maharaj given a very nice example about that main ingredients of our body is water. And that this is one of the great elements which it comes from Lord's energy. This body, Maharaj says that this body is given us on lease. So you have to pay that, you have to give the rent, you have to pay the rent. And this lease is only on temporary. It is not renewable. And it ends, it expires. There is no time. So means it's no, we have to vacate this body. So when your soul is in this body, that we have to understand the importance before you getting old, and before you getting your senses uncontrolled, or when you are in young, you must try to be in Krishna consciousness. So when your senses are under control, the time should be servicing or utilized in the study Srimad Bhagavatam and Bhagavad-Gita. So our Maharaj says that our real existence is spiritual and we do not end. In Bhagavad-Gita chapter 2 verse 30 says that, the translation, O descendant of Bharat, he who dwells in the body is eternal and can never be slain. Therefore, you need not grieve for any creature. So what I understand from this Maharaj's lecture and this verse, particularly, that one should not anxious about the maintenance of the body. Yeah, while living, we should maintain about the body, but we should not concentrate only 100% on the body. But simultaneously, because this body is a perishable, which mentioned in Bhagavad-Gita chapter 2, verse 18. Our soul is inside the body, it's eternal, and this is the knowledge we should develop with devotional service and in association with the devotees, like-minded devotees. So I had to always, while reading this, I thought that I must introspection myself, where I am, where I'm standing, whether I'm doing it or not. If not, then I had to endure continuously to be in association and take the guidance from senior, junior, who it may be. But as long as you get the knowledge about Bhagavad Gita and association, then that will be useful to me. So also Maharaj also given a couple of example about detach. So how you have to detach from everything. So how you can do that? Once you develop the detachment, so Maharaj says that you will have the pleasing attitude. And once you understand that, when you are in the pleasing attitude, you will come to know the religious principles, and then automatically you will purify. But it is not immediately automatically, but you have to be in association with the devotees, you have to chant and read Bhagavad-Gita and Bhagavatam. So this is my realization. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Supam Prabhu. Hare Krishna. Very nice. Very nice. Yes, please. Who would like to be next? I see we've got a new guest today. Uh, the name is not quite clear. It's saying Unboxing Art. Hare Krishna, Unboxing Art. So my name is Ambarish Das. Would you like to introduce yourself, please, if you are comfortable with?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Actually, unboxing art was the firm that I collab with. Uska that it is the name of that firm.
Okay.
Anyways, I am Shuchi Purohit. Hare Krishna to all.
Hare Krishna.
And this is my first class. I would like to listen everybody today. I would not speak today. I'll listen to everyone. This is my first class. Not because this is my first class, because I'm feeling such amazing. I'm feeling so wonderful to be a part of this class. And everybody is such a great devotee. Seeing them all is wonderful today. So I listen to each realization, and I'm very happy to be here. Hare
Very
Krishna.
nice. We are also very happy for you to be here with us. Hare Krishna, Suchi. Where are you joining us from?
Nagpur, sir.
From Nagpur, India. Okay, okay. Very nice. Okay. Hare Krishna. Yes, who would like to be the next speaker, please? Your realization. We also had some questions which some devotees had. Maybe we can add to that questions as we go. Yes, Soumya, would you like to speak?
Yes, Prabhu.
Yes, go ahead. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, I was not very prepared with my realization. So I would just instead I'll share some kind of all the difficulties that I have been facing lately related to my devotional practices, and in general, uh, some of my difficulties I would like to share as a form of realization. I would also I'll give a reference from Bhagavad-Gita, chapter 3, verse 36. Arjun uvacha अथ केन प्रयुक्तोऽयं पापं चरति पुरुष अनिच्छम् अपि वार्ष्णेय बलात् इव नियोजितः. Arjun said, O descendant of Vrishini, by what is one compelled to sinful acts even unwillingly, as if engaged by force? Prabhuji, I would like to share my personal experiences about this. What happened, what has been happening, I think, usually, like, for example, when I asked you the question about that Garba night thing, and we had a celebration for Garba night in our college, and I was very confused whether I should go for it or I should not go for it. And I was confused, if I'm going for it, am I just giving myself, I'm giving an excuse to myself that, okay, Amrish Prabhu said it is okay to go, so I can go. But yes, so I was very confused that, okay, I need to understand it very nicely. In the end, I ended up going. So I went to the Garba night, but when I went there, it was nice. It was a good thing. It was a celebration and all of that. But it just felt like when I came back, I felt like, okay, I would have been better off if I didn't go. I could not really enjoy myself over there because I just realized I was somewhere in the middle. I was not advanced enough to be very, okay, fine, I'm not going. I understand it very well and I should not be going. But even after I went, I kept thinking, okay, should I have not come over here? What am I doing over here? I'm not having fun. Okay, people are dancing and they are in ignorance. But I know this is something I'm not doing for Krishna. This is just something I'm doing for my personal sense gratification because I will have fun playing Garba with my friends and everyone is having fun. So that is why I did it. Other than that, obviously, before, because of COVID restrictions, we were not having any events in our college. So it was very easy for me to be very engrossed in just studying and chanting, reading. It was very easy for me. But nowadays, people are going out for parties and they are having celebrations in our college. They are having DJ night and people are dancing. And then people, they drink and they go dance and they have fun. And people are just, everyone goes. Like all of the girls in my batch are going. And the last time I didn't go for this party. The main reason why I didn't go for the party then, it was that I knew that if I would go, then some senior or someone else would force me to drink, or they will force me to do things that I didn't really want to do. And so I didn't go for those parties. But another aspect for why I wanted to go was that I wanted to have fun with my friends. I just want to, everyone will go there and friends will have fun, not for drinking purposes, but just for dancing and all of that. I thought that to myself. But in the end, I didn't go. But even when I didn't go, I had this thing in my mind that यार उनको तो मजा आ रहा होगा. I am not able to do that. What is happening? मतलब कि just a little voice inside of my head. It was like, यार थोड़ा सा मन कर रहा है जाने का, चली जाती शायद से, कुछ नहीं होता. No one would have forced me or something like that. So that is something that I was facing. And another incident, it was with my hockey. I was having difficulties on whether I should play or I should not play. So I continued playing. But after I think almost 2 or 3 weeks ago, I think it was some kind of realization. I don't know, something changed. It was like I just had a realization that I have so much to do in my entire day. I have to study, I have to chant, I have to give my time to so many things. And it just felt as if hockey was so rudimentary to it. And why was I even doing it? And I went to play and it was okay. I was playing. But then when I came back, it was like, why am I playing? I mean, I'm not even, it was like I played, but I was not into the playing thing as I was before. And so I left going. And when I left going, my friends were there in the club. This girl, she asked me, तूने क्यों छोड़ दिया? तू आती क्यों नहीं है? आया करना. And अभी तो बहुत ही आराम से तू कभी भी आ सकती है, कभी भी जा सकती है. पढ़ाई की तो टेंशन नहीं है. And I said कि हाँ यार टेंशन तो नहीं है, पता है मुझे. But it is just that मुझे worthwhile नहीं लग रहा था वो टाइम उस पे spend करना. And I was not interested in it. Now the thing is that with these clubs, we have secretaries in our college. And she said, यार तू आती तो तू सेकी बन जाती. And I was like, okay यार मैंने club, I stopped going, but if I would have continued going, I might have I would have gotten a badge and then I would have been facilitated in front of everyone, and it would have been nice. But then I figured, and then I thought that okay, but what will I do of that badge? For how long? 2 years of this college, and then no one even remembers who was a hockey ki secretary thi Soumya. So it is so I like that I tried to understand. I tried to tell my mind that no, you did the right decision and you should not go back from your decision. And so yes, Prabhuji, these are just a few of the difficulties I think that I'm facing. Sometimes I'm successful in trying to tell my mind to make it understand that why what I'm doing is right and why I should not do what everyone else is doing. But even at that time, sometimes there is a little voice in my head which is a fear of missing out. Okay, everyone else is doing and I'm missing out on all of that. So I'm just trying to cope up with this and trying to understand things better. That is my realization.
Hare Krishna, that's very nice. Thank you for your realization there. I feel for you young people. I feel that why did I join so late? I remember first time when Mahavishnu Goswami Maharaj, Guru Maharaj came to my home, and I was sitting at the lotus feet of Maharaj, and my wife were cooking. There were a lot of devotees. It was like sunrise. Everything was very jubilant in the home and outside. And I was at the lotus feet of Maharaj. I was sitting here like this, I was very new. I don't think I was initiated too. No, I was not initiated as well. And Maharaj was sitting and Maharaj was saying, I asked something like this. When did Maharaj start something like this? Krishna consciousness. Or some discussion took place, and Maharaj said, "Well, you see, I John became serious, at my age of 40, and waste, such a waste, 40 years, and I was still very new, but I think I saw a tear coming from his eyes, on the side very quietly. I did not know what to react, so I nearly froze, sitting quietly. I said, "Did I ask a wrong question, or what nonsense is this?" But at the same time, when my son was very, very tiny, and he would play cricket in New Zealand, and he would play good cricket. He is still playing good cricket. So I asked Maharaj, because he was selected to do higher grades. This is now inter clubs, not from the school but from the clubs, inter club, and representing the city. He was representing Auckland city at age of 8 or something, So pretty good at that level. So I asked Maharaj. I said, "Listen, I'll talk to Maharaj first." So I asked Maharaj before, he plays cricket well. Should I pursue this, Maharaj? I said, "Yes, yes, no problem. You should know Krishna consciousness is important, but don't stop." I said, "Okay." But this is how, if you really want to understand and the mood of a real good devotee, you have to win the heart. And many times they give answer which is okay for us, it should not disturb us too much, So knowing that, after about 6 months or a year, and I again met Maharaj on the phone, I said, "Maharaj, Krishna plays good cricket, At the time he was, then he was we were initiated. He was not. His name was Jai Shri Krishna Das. He's world famous by the name Jai Shri Krishna Das. I said, "Maharaj, Jai Shri Krishna Das plays very good cricket. Maharaj, should I pursue him, make him to pursue this? He plays." I said, "Yes, yes, no problem. He can do this, So twice, thrice. But still, I wasn't very convinced. So then when we went to India again, and I asked this question again personally. So Maharaj, Jai Shri Krishna Das plays very good cricket. He represents Auckland, and this is. Should we pursue this, Maharaj? I said, "Yes, yes. He should pursue. He knows devotional service is first. All this is there. It is good for development." So what I'm trying to say is this: that, like you, it's very inspiring what you just said, Soumya. That we personally, I never force anyone to do. Which is not done. Blah, blah. This age is different, and I'm not that pure. Prabhupada are pure. Prabhupada could do this. So we point out to Prabhupada. My Guru Maharaj is pure too. But my whole training by Maharaj was not like this. I said, "Okay, you see, use your intelligence, read Prabhupada's books, you see, and you find out." That's why I said last time also, and today also I read the same thing. Do not do anything which makes you feel FOMO, don't do all those things. It's better to know, and then you say, "I didn't like it." Like you went to that, which you did not like, playing hockey, you went to hockey, and you said, "Oh, well, I lost the interest there." But do not, if physical activity is good, sports is good. Okay, don't think. I do not want you guys, the beginners program and you youngsters, to be completely blocking off yourself. Don't do this. If you can, if you want to do it, great. Ultimately, that's what we want. You lose interest, Your taste changes. But unless the taste changes, it will be very hard for you to dwell on the mind. Because Krishna says in the Bhagavad-Gita that one may control the mind, but the taste remains. And it's suddenly a cheat, So instead of, while chanting, remembering that, rather than you go there once and do stop worry about it, then chant properly, So your Garva night, you went there, you saw, you didn't like it. That's it, full stop. But something else, a breakdance night, you did not go for breakdancing. You said, oh, how would it be? Maybe like this, maybe like that. I would have danced like this, I would have danced like that, and all those things are there. So, but better you go once, do a breakdance, break your bones, and come back and say, I'm not going to do it. It's not for me. But you must say, I like it. I would like to pursue it. No problem. At this point in time, you should not be worried about, you should be thinking that Krishna consciousness is very important. I want to do this. Because you all are what, 20, 21, 22 years old. Hardly your life is just begun now, And uh, after 30 years, 40 years, it should not happen that I was not allowed to go there. You'll freak out. You'll freak out. But then it's very important to have mature decision. That doesn't mean we do wrong things. I'm not asking you to do wrong things. No. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that this are innocent things, like your social events and all that. Go find out. If you don't like it, fine. You like it, it's fine. Because tomorrow when you do a job, it's going to happen the same way. You see, jobs and businesses here in New Zealand. I was in media again. Anyways, people would drink alcohol here anytime, have illicit sex anytime, And I was in media, for goodness sake, So it's all was flowing, free flowing. And I said no, and that gave us confidence, you see, because I've gone through that. I said no, I don't want it, not me. And they would say, wow, with regards to food, because I used to love food. I mean, now I'm very. They say there are people who are good taster of food, who love food. They find out from the aroma what is it made up of, how it is made up of, what are the ingredients. So this was me, and this is me to a great extent. But at the same time, I remember one incident where we were going to a big event, here in Auckland, and for that event we had to hire a tuck suit, and that hiring itself cost them so many, I think $1,000 or something, just to hire a tuck suit. Imagine how it would be for, and they would cut it for you and all those things, and I would wear this tuck suit and gone there and all this, and we had a whole, table for us, and we had our big bosses there, and my vice president was there, tip top guys, and there was food and top quality food. My wife had cooked nice pasta for me. It was cold winter night, and I had kept in my car. So when the time for break came, I went away quietly and I had my frozen pasta in the car, and came back and I was sitting there nicely. And they would all have the alcohol and all that. I barely drank, I think, juice. There also I was a bit skeptical. Juice, what glass this? I don't know whether glass has got wine inside before that, how they washed it or not. I don't know whether I drank or half I drank juice or nothing. And I was sitting quietly, and they said, ultimately at the end of it, our super boss had to admit it. He said, Eddie, we have to admit this, man. This food is in front of you, and you're not even touching anything. It is commandable, And for me, with that level, it was easy for me. And I had really frozen pasta, you see. And I've done this so many times. But why we could do this? Because I have gone to restaurants and all those things. I've been there, done that, you see. So, but the taste that comes through, and for everything you don't require experience. Remember this one thing. You don't require experience to do anything. You don't require experience to drink poison when you know it's going to be harmful. Yeah, but please, innocent things. It's better to have experience and say, "Yep, no problem." And we all have got experience like this. It's good to share, so we can share our experience too. But I can tell you, if I was at your age, I would have felt the same like you. But because it's different time, different space, I'm all right with it. Still, it was hard, but it's all right. And so many times it happens. We go out for restaurant, parties, and all that. I would sit. I said, listen, I'm going to sit here till the time your food arrives. When the food arrives, I'm going. I've got my food in my car, and they would in turn appreciate it. Unfortunately, Indians don't appreciate this. They would give me hard time. Indians from India. When I was an Indian team, they gave me hard time, and I decided I'm not going to leave them. And I barked at them. I beat them badly. I remember as long as I was with the non-Indian teams, with the bosses and all that, they were very appreciative. So, wow, you're sitting here just for us to give us company. The food is arrived, you're going away. Amazing, man. That's great. But Indian, no. Because they've got experience, or they know you. Indian in the sense, they know me. So they say, why like this? Why not like that? You're going, not eating, you're doing, feeling too hard for yourself. I said, then I remember this because they know me. They say, you say you're vegetarian, all those things. But plants also have got vegetable life. Ha 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 ha. They laughed, And all the others, sidekicks, they all laughed in the team. So I was just holding my breath. I was spewing venom. I was holding my breath. When they finished, I said, if your comparison is that plants have life, so that's why you can eat animals who've got life, then your mother also had life. Your father also has life. Why don't you eat them? He was stunned in front of the pin drop silence. I said, is this your intelligence? This is how you speak, Have some sense. If there's a possibility of eating stone, I would have eaten stone, but I can't eat stone. So why don't you eat human beings? No, one day it's going to happen, I said, no. Start about one day. Talk about this. This was your argument, I'm giving you your argument. Learn to appreciate this. Do you understand? Ooh, that was it. Full stop. Since then, nothing. Since then, whenever I would go out with my mates, and they would go to pubs and all that, I would not drink. I would be with them for hours. It's okay. And say, so you're not drinking? I said, no, I'm not even breathing. Do you understand? I've suspended breathing now. This is higher taste. Sometimes we have to do it. Sometimes it comes on automatically. But I very much appreciate all of you who have taken up this challenge. And we do this because, why do we do this? Because
we love Krishna.
Yes, for our love for Krishna. And I would honestly tell them that I'm applying, I don't know whether Krishna knows me. And they'll be very happy to say, look, that's right, Krishna doesn't know him. He's applying. I said, yeah, that's correct. I don't know if he knows me. But I know him, that is enough for me. I love him. That is enough for me. This took them some years to understand what I was talking. But it was great. They stopped me hassling, and I was hassling, then they appreciated it after some time. So it depends upon whether you're convinced or not. So do not force yourself. All these stories I gave you is always for one thing, that if you are convinced, do it. Artificially, do not do it. Sometimes you have to force yourself, which is very good. You should force yourself. Yeah? And important thing is to remember Krishna and never forget him. And even after saying this, I may fall down even now. Because it's not that I've conquered everything, I've not. If you're conquering also, you can fall down. It's not that you're permanently going to remain like this. No. These are all strengths coming from Krishna. It is He who gives us the strength. We have got no strength. We are simply dependent upon Him. So please, it's very nice. I'm very, very happy and inspired by your things from you. Very nice. All the best to you. All the best to you. All you young people, all Bhadram Te, all auspiciousness to all of you. If there's any value to what I'm saying, in my prayers. Wonderful. Please continue. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Can you hear me properly, Prabhuji? There are some technical difficulties, so I'm not sure it's going to continue properly. I may switch on to the phone.
It's all good.
So thank you very much, Sanjeev Prabhu, Soumya Mataji, Sopan Prabhu, for your very nice realizations. So as Amrish Prabhu initially started the discussion regarding sharing the realization. So I was actually today I had a wonderful discussion with my wife regarding the sharing of realization, because there was a discussion, because I appreciate what she was saying, that actually in our program, devotees give very top class realizations, all this big devotees. And so she was saying that she sometimes feels shy to share the realization because they are not to the standard of the Amrish Prabhu's class. So yeah, so I was talking to her. So I said it's not like that. It's not about actually what we speak, because then I remembered actually one of the incident long time ago, Namata program actually Amrish Prabhu may not remember this, but actually there was a discussion I had Amrish Prabhu during the program. And at that time, I don't recall exactly what was the point of discussion, but actually the point he said was stuck in my heart at the time. And I think it was discussion along the line, because he asked, so why don't you speak, or why don't you share the realization? And I said to him that, and that was true, that I'm very shy, Prabhuji, I said. I do not normally speak in front of people. And Prabhuji actually said it to me that, oh, what is this shyness? It's nothing but a false ego. And when I heard that, I felt it very hard. I said, and I was very new in the program at the time. It's a long time ago. I don't even recall, maybe I just within maybe a year or something, I was following at the time. And then I actually thought about that point quite a lot. How come it's an ego, shyness, how it can be ego. And when actually, I thought over and over, I realized, yeah, actually Amrish Prabhu is right. It's an ego, because the reason we don't speak normally, because we are always under the fear of being, we think people might judge us, and because we're holding off. And then at that time, I decided, oh, maybe it's not a good thing to, have. I should speak. So I actually, I made an effort and I started speaking. Even now, actually, public speaking is not very natural to me, even my job and all that, because the way I work actually it doesn't come natural to me. But actually, after I started, sharing my realization and try to give the class, even in the first class I gave, I needed a lot of convincing, I was convincing myself I can do it. Because I can actually read and understand, but when it actually come to the speaking, it's not very natural. But actually all these actually realizations, and I read Srila Prabhupada, and all those, everything has helped me. Because I remember actually when Srila Prabhupada, I think Amrish Prabhu used to broadcast, on our Wednesday program, the TV, and he used to show a lot of realizations. And where I think there was one realization actually by the devotees, that Srila Prabhupada asked them to publish a magazine. And the devotee, he said, he has no knowledge about publishing or anything to do with the magazine, how he can do it. And Srila Prabhupada says that don't worry, you just do the, you just go and you do the effort and Krishna will help, And they did it successfully, to the surprise. And then I realized that actually devotional service is not something about, what you can do actually. And, you had to do something what you cannot do. So you had to force yourself, you had to get out of your comfort zone. And that is the real austerity, Krishna will appreciate. So all those actually realization really helped me actually to actually speak out, and it also helped me in my material life as well, because as I progressed, so it comes. I still don't say it's very natural, but I become comfortable, speaking in front of people. So that was a point, and then actually I was talking to my wife, and I said sharing the realization, because we don't share the realization because we need appreciation from other people, actually it's all about glorifying Krishna. And Srila Prabhupada, when he went to the US, and he used to stand in a park and actually do the kirtan, all alone for many months, nobody came. So I think later on some devotees asked, why Srila Prabhupada, you're standing alone and chanting and nobody's coming, why you used to do that? So Srila Prabhupada at that time, they actually said to the devotees, he was not interested in gathering a crowd, he was just glorifying his Lord, So that really touched actually my heart as well, So it's not about actually what people think of you, it's not about if people will judge you. Actually, you should actually share your realization, or you glorify the Lord from the point of actually glorifying the Lord, not about, we should not worry what people will think about us, So that's what I realized. And that is the reason actually means I really enjoy actually, sharing the realization. So even if I think I'm not prepared, I still share it, because the only objective actually means I'm not really pure in my heart, but at least I can actually say that Krishna, I can glorify you in whatever way I can. So means I'm pretty sure Amrish Puri will agree with this point, that actually means even if you cannot share very high level of, yeah. So that was actually, that's another realization we had. So I said, hope she agrees with that. But normally I do not try to convince people.
That's very good, very good. Actually, when I told you that, it's because so many disciples of Prabhupada had said that they were never spoken publicly. They're not qualified to speak publicly, but they're all big public speakers now because of Prabhupada. So that was what I had heard. That's why I said that this is nothing but our ego. Give and speak. What? I don't know how to speak. My delivery is very poor. Hardly anything. But you speak. If you do not speak, who's going to listen? How are you going to preach if everybody thinks like this? Please continue. Hare Krishna.
So my today's realization actually, the two things, and one of the transcendental mellow from our His Holiness Mahavishnu Goswami Maharaj. I think this is from the 16th of April, where Maharaj wrote, Maharaj said, we have to actually follow the religious principles and remember Krishna every day. Then our death will not be painful. So actually it sounds very simple, but you think more of it actually, is quite instructive in itself. Because unless we actually follow the rules and regulations and all the instructions, we have learned so far, and we try to remember Krishna, there is no chance that actually we can able to detach ourselves from these material things. Very recently, actually means just 2 days back, we also celebrated the festival Dasera, Vijayastava. And normally, actually, especially from India, we have many WhatsApp groups, and you get all the actually greetings coming from your friends. And most of the time, what I realize, the people share the actual greetings, but they do not realize what they are actually celebrating. So even actually, I ask people, why do you celebrate, Dasera? But they don't normally have any firm answer. It is just like, one of the festival, just like a Christmas, time to celebrate, eat and enjoy. So actually, because these pastimes are very instructive, so normally means we all know that actually we celebrate because Lord Ram actually killed Ravana on this day, so that is the Vijay. So Vijayastava. So I was actually meditating on that point as well, and I actually read some of the actually lecture given by some of the ISKCON devotees as well, Sri Radhanath Goswami Maharaj, and I was reading through. And actually, they actually explained this pastime very nicely, just like Srila Prabhupada spoke. Actually, because we have heard the stories, means I have watched Ramayana long time ago, when I was in school, it's used to actually broadcast it on TV, and that's how I actually learned about Ramayana and Mahabharata. But all I know was just a story at the time, I didn't really understand actually that pastime. So actually, if you think actually, the way means we all know actually Ramayana. So I will not actually spend much time on that, but actually there's some of the actually pastimes I found it very instructive that I read, and what I realized is actually that is a very loving exchange, when actually Lord Ram was actually on his way to to Lanka, where he is actually trying to find Sita Devi. So he actually took the help of Vanaras and the Hanuman, to actually try to find out where the Sita Mataji was located, and actually try to search. So if you think on that point, Lord Ram is actually one of the plenary expansion of Lord Krishna, is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And being a god means we have been actually reading through the different actually realizations shared by Amrish Prabhu, the Srila Prabhupada's actually purport on definition of God. He has all 6 opulences, and one of his opulences is all powerful, he has all the power and all the beauty and all the renunciation and all the knowledge, he's all knowing. So actually he does not really need help of anyone to find anyone, he knows he's in the heart of everyone. But actually Lord Ram, because being he's a supreme god, still actually gave the opportunity to all the Vanaras, the Sugriva and Hanuman and Garuda, all those pastimes that were involved. So he was actually giving the opportunity to the devotees, to serve, and at the same time he is glorifying them, for their services they've done. So actually there is a lot to learn, so even actually we heard the actually pastime of Bali Maharaj, and Vaman Dev, and actually how Krishna actually, he does one thing and actually he achieves many objectives with one action. So with actually the Ramayana is also along the same lines, actually he's actually staged all his pastime in such a way that actually, he gave actually, credit to his devotees, and devotees gave credit to Lord Ram. So there was one of the incident where actually when, Lakshman, he get injured during a war, and he fell down, and he actually needed some, the what they call aushadhi, because the Sushena, he said that someone need to go into the Himalayas and bring that Sanjeevani, so who can go there, and he has to return by the sunset, actually sunrise, otherwise, Lakshman may die. So Lord Hanuman took on that challenge, and he said that he will return, and even if he cannot return, he will eat the sun, so he will not rise on time. So that is enthusiasm, that is a confidence. He was totally committed, to serving, following the instruction of Lord Ram in whatever ways. So that is one of the quality, the Amrish Prabhu said that actually endeavoring with enthusiasm is very important in devotional service. Utsahat nishyad dharyat, tat karma pravartanat, sangatyaga sutuvritte shadbir bhaktir prasiddhati. So that enthusiasm, endeavoring with enthusiasm is very, very important in devotional service. And the way actually Hanuman carried his service, he done his service very thoroughly, actually when he reached the actually mountain ranges, I think they call Vindhyachal, and he was a bit confused which actually, that plan to actually, take back. So he's confused, but he made sure that actually he do not want to actually return with the wrong plant, and he has to again come back, and he did not want it to risk. So he's actually decided to actually lift the entire mountain and take it back, and he did that actually, and he knew because Lord Ram, is actually within his heart, and he actually is deriving all the power from his Lord, and he was totally convinced with the actually blessings of Lord Ram, he can do anything, So you can see the confidence in Lord Hanuman's attitude, he actually lifted the entire mountain and actually bring it back. So, and when Lord Ram actually, when Hanuman returned, Lord Ram actually embraced him, after actually he, the Shushena actually, he grabbed the actually Sanjeevani and actually gave it to the Lakshman, and he actually then, he revived and actually he stand up. So when actually upon his return, Lord Ram actually embraced Hanuman actually, and actually he thanked him, for his service. So the point to understand is actually, Lord is always finding a way to glorify his devotees, because being a supreme Lord, nothing is impossible for him to actually even find a Ravana and kill. He can do that in a moment. But actually all these pastimes are enacted So there is a loving exchange between his devotees and him. And actually devotees, pure devotees, they do not actually pride over their actually achievements or whatever power they got, because they are not under illusion, they are not under maya. They always know, okay, they have firm conviction whatever they can do is only because the actually blessings from the Lord. Otherwise they are not able to do anything without the mercy of the Lord. So actually that loving reciprocation, there's a lot to learn, because in this material world, actually, because we always think we are the doers, so any achievement, actually, if you achieve anything in our life, we always think we are the cause, we have actually worked very hard and actually we want it, it's very hard sometimes to actually, unless we come to this actually, Krishna conscious philosophy, we do not understand that point, that actually it is all the credit goes to the Lord, because every strength or any capability we got in ourselves or in anyone, it is actually Krishna's mercy, it is Krishna. So that's what I actually realized. Also, actually, when in the end, actually, when Lord Ram has to actually kill Ravana, so there is I think a very nice pastime described where after that, when Lord Ram in the end, actually, once the actual Lakshmana was revived, he wanted to actually kill Ravana. So he actually finally he actually pulled back his arrow, and then actually he shoot at the direction of Ravana, and his actually the head was cut off, and it fell down on the ground. So at that time, all the Vanaras and Hanuman, they actually jubilantly actually they glorify Lord Ram. But next moment, the head again actually the Ravana, he has 10 heads, and no matter actually how many times you cut down those heads, it keep appearing again and again. So at that time, there are actually the devotees around Lord Ram. They instruct here actually they Vibhishan was also there. So he I think some of them actually told Ram that actually Ravana is not going to be killed like that. So he has actually received the benediction from Lord Brahma, and there is some celestial nectar in his heart. And the only way to kill Lord Ravana is to actually pierce his heart, and to actually dry up the celestial nectar. And unless we do that, he's not going to be killed. So Lord Ram actually then also he's reminded that actually he has also got the arrow from Agastya Muni. So there's very beautiful pastime how he actually got that arrow. So that arrow is actually actually given by Lord Brahma, and it was under the actually been put under the actually protection with the Lord the Agastya Muni. So actually he handed that over to Lord Ram, when he was actually during the Vanvas. So he remembered that he has that arrow, and then he finally Lord Ram used that arrow. And actually there's very nice description given by the arrows, actually the body of the arrow, even the actually tip of the arrow is actually the presiding deity of Suryadev, Agni. Even the feathers at the back of the arrow is given by Garuda. So so it's all actually in many ways actually in the service done by his devotees are glorified. And finally, when Lord Ram actually struck his actually the target, he cut down the head of Ravana. Actually he is actually shoot at his heart, and he spear through his heart and dries up his celestial nectar, and then that's how the Ravana was killed. So after killing Ravana, when he was actually lying down on battleground, and the Vibhishan, actually his brother, but he left Ravana and actually joined Lord Ram. So when he joined Lord Ram at that time, when he was returning, at that time Sugriva said that we should not accept him. Rather we will kill him because he's the brother of Ravana. So and a lot of other Vanaras actually they say the same thing. But Lord Ram at that time asked Hanuman, what do you think? So Hanuman, actually, when he actually look at Vibhishan, he's being a pure devotee. He said that actually he looks very sincere and devoted. We should accept him. And Lord Ram, being actually he's a supreme Lord, he also knows, being as a Paramatma present in everyone's heart. And he accepts Lord Vibhishan. And where actually there is a famous quote, not a quote actually, it's a declaration made by Lord Ram, that where he says that actually if anyone, who come to him and surrender unto him, where he says that, Lord Ram, you are mine and I'm yours, he will never reject that person, and he will offer all the protection, So that is actually promise of Lord Ram. And it's very instructive. And Srila Prabhupada also, in Bhagavad-Gita actually always quote this verse, Sarva dharman paritajya mamekam sharanam aham tam sarva papebho moksha ishami masuchaha. So by actually giving up all these designations and religions, if you surrender sincerely unto the lotus feet of Lord, he will give all the protection, and Krishna is the giver up. He's the only one who can offer real protection, and he will always keep his word. That's why he's called Satyavrat. There is nice, beautiful actually verse in Srimad Bhāgavatam, in Garbhstuti, that the Satyavatam Satya Param Tri Satyam Satyasya Yonim Nihitam Cha Satye Satyasya Satyam Riti Satya Netram Satyam Akamtam Sharanam Prapannam. So he's a Satyavrat, he will always keep his word, and he'll always make sure that his devotee's word is always kept. We have also we know about the past time of Prahlad Maharaj and Lord Narcinde, and Hiranyakashipu. So Lord Narcinde, he appeared because actually it is a word given by Lord Narad Muni, that actually Prahlad Maharaj will be always protected by, Lord. And that's how actually there is a beautiful pastime of Lord Narcinde appearance, how he appeared to protect his devotee. So same, actually, the point is, the real protection can be only offered by Lord Krishna, Lord Ram. He is actually worthy one where we can actually surrender. And if we surrender sincerely, then as Lord Ram says, he will never reject that person. And he said that even Ravana, if he come back, and surrender unto him, he will even forgive Ravana. So that is actually quality of Lord Ram. He is actually emblem of forgiveness, and compassion. Is a lot to learn. So when Ravana was killed, coming back to that actually past time, so Vibhishan actually was sitting there and crying because he was his brother, and Vibhishan was his also pure devotee. But actually Lord Ram asked him to actually to go ahead with the last rites, when actually person is dead, we perform rites, and actually we do that in order to actually liberate, to help liberate his soul. So when Lord asked him to actually perform the last rites for Ravana, so Vibhishan was, at that time he was crying, and he said that how he can do that because he has done so many sinful activities, and he actually kidnapped Lord Ram's wife, and he has given so much pain to Lord Ram. How he can do that? So Lord Ram says that actually all these sinful activities are actually they are actually relate to his body and mind, but now his soul is actually separated from his body, and soul itself is pure, so there is no danger from the soul now, so he can actually go ahead and perform those rites, so he can be liberated. So there is, you can see that actually there is so much to learn from this pastime, so even actually means Lord, he does not hate anyone, he is equally disposed to everyone. And as it is actually famously says that actually normally we should not hate there is a Christian saying, hate the sinner. Sorry, hate the sin, not the sinner. It's the same thing, So we should not actually hate the person, we should not hate the soul. We should actually hate the sinful activities. And that's what I actually means. There's a this is the instruction we should learn, because it's very easy for us to actually blame the person for the activities they do, Rather, we should actually focus on actually how to get rid of those actually sinful activities rather than actually judging and actually hating the person. It's very hard to actually implement, in practical terms, because we're still very contaminated. Because unless you become a pure devotee, you cannot see everyone on the same platform. But there is actually means you can see actually, the Lord Ram actually how he conducted, his activities, and he's not really actually, he never hold grudge against anyone. So actually, what we can learn, so Ravana, if you look at, he is actually personification of all the greed, envy, and sinful activities. He was quite just like Hiranyakashipu. He was a perfect materialist. So, and if you look at ourselves actually in this material world, we are also actually under the same condition. We got a lot of envy, anger, and greed, and attachment to this material thing, lust. So, as Ravana is a personification, and actually to how Lord Ram actually, killed him. So, actually, if we want to actually get rid of these propensities, the lusty, greedy propensities, the envy, then actually we have to actually surrender, unto Lord Ram or Lord Krishna, and that is the only way. We also sing prayer to Lord Narcinde, on every day, and that has actually similar meaning. Om Namo Bhagavate Narsimhaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Narsimhaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Narsimhaya. Namasate Jasate Jasa Avir Bhava Vajnaka Vajdamshta Karma Shayan Randhaya Tamo Grasa Om Swaha Om Swaha Abhyam Atmani Bhuishta Om Sham Om Sham Om Sham. So the translation: I offer my respectful obeisances unto Lord Narcinde, the source of all power. O my Lord, who possesses nails and teeth just like thunderbolt, kindly vanquish our demon-like desires for petty activity in this material world. Please appear in our heart and drive away our ignorance, so that by your mercy we may become fearless in the struggle for existence in this material world. So actually, the only way to get rid of all this actually sinful propensities, the lust, greed, envy, unless we surrender unto Lord Krishna and sincerely pray and actually implement the instruction, it is not possible to actually get rid of these propensities, and that's how actually our death will be very painful, being attached to all these things. As Guru Maharaj says that, unless we remember Krishna every day, unless we follow this religious principle every day, our death is going to be very painful, and if we actually follow all this instruction, and as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, Lord Krishna has, appeared in this material world, in Kali Yuga as a Namarup, as a holy name. So if we chant and remember Krishna every day, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So by doing that, actually this will help to purify our heart, as it is said in Shishtashtakam, Cheto Darpana Marjanam Bhaumaha Davagni Nirvapanam. So this holy name will actually burn all these actually sinful propensities, what is actually accumulated on our heart for a long time, and we have to actually clean that every day by chanting, so there is a very great importance, actually given to the chanting the holy names on daily basis. And unless we chant these holy names, there is no hope for us to actually purify our heart, because we, as a spirit soul, we are also pure, just like a God in quality, similar in quality with the God. But because we are actually born in this material world and coming in contact with the matter, actually we are actually always under the influence of three modes, and that's how we actually get entangled, and we are actually get all these propensities, lust, greed, envy, and all that. And that is a major hurdle in our surrender to Krishna or Lord Ram. But if we chant these holy names, then actually just like a Ramban Upaya, it is a Ramban Upaya, Prabhupada says it, So this will actually help kill all our demon-like propensities, Ravana-like propensities in our heart. And that's how we can actually one day, with the mercy of the Lord, will be able to surrender, sincerely unto the lotus feet of Lord Krishna and Lord Ram. And we can able to actually purify our life. And then, as Guru Maharaj says, that if we remember Krishna every day and follow this religious principle, then our death will not be painful, it will be very joyous occasion, because we are not attached. And things that we are not attached is easy to give up, and we can leave this material world. So that is my realization. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Sir Prabhu. It was very nice realization. And my request to you is if you can please restrict to 15 minutes, please, Just like a big class, which is good. It's very, very nice, no doubt about it. But it affects others' realizations, So please, thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Yes, next, please. Hare Krishna. Who would have to share? Yes.
Who I would like to share my realization. Hello.
Yes, Parth, we cannot hear you. Yeah.
Hello. Hare Krishna.
Yeah, keep going.
Am I audible?
Yeah. Try.
Just yeah. Hare Krishna, am I audible now?
Yes.
Okay. So yeah, I have prepared a realization on coincidentally the same thing that Soumya Mataji has given a realization on. So it's just a different perspective. But yeah, so I'll start with it. So I was inspired by this realization. So I was reading a book, and it was a book by Oprah Winfrey. So I think we all know Oprah Winfrey. And there was this one quote which said that opportunity may knock only once, but temptation leans on the doorbell. So this one quote, and I read this quote, and I thought it related more to our devotional practices and devotee practices, and it is very relevant. And so I started meditating on it, and so I got some realizations, and I wrote them down. I formulated them, and I prepared a thing, and I'll say that. But before that, this is just, so I prepared this realization. But apart from this realization, I also had a side realization, like a little small realization apart from this big major realization. And the small realization was that in life, and this small realization was related to last time I attended Avinash Prabhu's class, Avinash Krishna Prabhu's class. So we had a discussion about reversals in life or challenges in life, and how we need to have faith in Krishna when we are having all these challenges and everything, and it is a test of our faith. So my realization just was, and it is related to this also, was that as of now we might be thinking that we're getting some reversals or we're getting some challenges in our life, but if at that moment we have our full faith in Krishna, and we have full faith on Krishna's word that he says that he will never let his devotees perish, and he preserves what they have and gives them what they lack. If we have faith on that, then we can have our strength and we can continue. And after continuing through that difficult phase, when we will look back, we will not only be better people, better individuals, but if we try to learn some lesson out of the entire thing, we will have great learnings. As like, it's a treasure that Krishna gives us in difficult situations, and we all have great learnings if we sometimes look back, and actually we'll be very grateful for whatever happened to us. And we thought it was very challenging, but we'll be very grateful for whatever did happen, and it will come to us as a treasure box. But the point is that we need to have faith on Krishna's words. Now I'll start with my realization. So suppose we are busy working in our house. If someone knocks on the door and knocks softly, we may not hear them, especially if we are not expecting anyone. But if that person keeps knocking, and we may feel as if we have no alternative except to open the door. If we consider our consciousness to be like a house, then various stimuli from the outer world are like visitors that knock on the door of our consciousness. When opportunity knocks, it knocks softly. So we need to be alert enough to notice and grab it. Whereas we need to be alert to notice when opportunity knocks, we need another kind of resourcefulness when temptation knocks. If a visitor leaned on the doorbell, it would ring on and on and on, leaving us with no option but to open the door. Temptation is such an insistent visitor. When it appears in our consciousness, it just keeps propositioning us repeatedly and relentlessly. Over time, its siren call consumes our consciousness so completely that we feel as if we have to put everything else aside and just give into it. How does temptation ring the doorbell so much, so incessantly? By appearing irresistible. That is how it does it. Initially, temptation allures us with the promise of pleasure that seems immense and immediate and irresistible. However, once we indulge in it a few times, then the desire becomes increasingly forceful, goading us towards indulgence. Being goaded, we indulge not so much because the pleasure is so irresistible, but because the torment of not indulging in it becomes so unbearable. Thus, the incessant and loud ringing of the bell of our consciousness by temptation manifests initially as the promise of irresistible pleasure, and eventually as the misery of intolerable torment. Either way, we feel driven to open the door just to silence the bell. But as soon as we open the door, temptation barges into our consciousness and takes it hostage. As the Bhagavad-Gita Wars 2.44 warns, and I'll just go to the verse. भोगेश्वर्य प्रसक्तानां तया पारिता चेतसां व्यवसात्मिका बुद्धिः समाधौ न विधीयते. Translation: in the minds of those who are too attached to sense enjoyment and material opulence, and who are bewildered by such things, the resolute determination for devotional service to the Supreme Lord does not take place. So according to this verse in the Bhagavad Gita, it is warning us that if we open the door and let temptations go into our consciousness, all that will happen is that those temptations will take us hostage. With our consciousness thus captivated, temptation impels us into self-defeating actions that cause tribulation and degradation. Significantly, however, we don't have to open the door. If somebody is leaning on the doorbell, we can just turn off the power to the doorbell. How can we turn off the power to the bell when temptation rings it? By not thinking about the temptation. What gives any stimulus the power to disturb us is the attention we give it. If we turn our attention to something else, that stimulus becomes disempowered. To turn our attention away from temptation when it allures us, we need to have ready at hand activities that can engage and absorb us. And we need to have them ready at hand. We will readily have such activities if we have cultivated for our life some higher purpose, a purpose that brings out our higher, noble, and purer side. Gita wisdom explains that the highest purpose is spiritual purpose, the purpose of lovingly harmonizing our spiritual core with the supreme spiritual reality, Krishna. This supreme reality manifests as the all-attractive, all-pure, all-powerful supreme, Lord Shri Krishna. Thinking about him, engaging in his service, and redefining our life as an offering of loving service to him brings sublime, supreme fulfillment. And we can access this fulfillment by practicing Bhakti Yoga, which trains our consciousness to connect with him. To the extent our consciousness becomes thus devotionally enriched, to that extent, we can pull our attention away from temptations with inordinate difficulty. And just like an unwanted visitor goes away when their repeated elicits no response, so too does temptation go away when we don't respond to it. Hare Krishna.
This is very wonderful. Very, very nicely put. Parts, bro. Very good parts. Excellent, excellent. You've described the temptation very nicely. It is everyone's personal realization and yours too. It's very good. Now, how to conquer that when you give the answer, and I want you to concentrate upon give some more practical answers to that. You gave devotional service. Yes, of course, it's a generalized statement. Everything else was very, very, very nicely pinpointed. Very nicely done. Yeah. Now, next time in next realization, if you can elaborate upon what are those opportunities at hand, the options at hand, which we have to cultivate when that happens, and that will benefit everyone, including me, the most. It's very good. Very good. Hare Krishna. Yes, please. Yes, please.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Yes, Naresh, continue. Please continue.
Hare Krishna, all devotees and Matajis. Thank you for sharing your nice realizations. Yeah, Prabhuji. Today's realization is about association. I'm not really good at describing like Parth Prabhuji, but I would share like what I thought about the association. I have shared this realization before as well, but I had this. I was just thinking about like how to carry on the devotional service without disturbing, without the disturbance of all these material things. When you are, like right now, I'm living with Sheetal Prabhu or Mamaji, but I'll be going back to India. So I was thinking about that how can I engage myself when I will not be there living with my Mamaji. So like it is very difficult for me to focus on certain things for a long time. So so in the sense of devotional service, so association with the pure devotees is very, very, very important, as we have discussed on many occasions. So this remembrance of Krishna 24 hours a day is a main reason, like is one of the main thing behind the association. So that's what I thought, Prabhuji. So there is a lot of philosophy also goes behind it. So without the association, it is very difficult to keep our focus. So whenever I go out with the friends and where associate with the other peoples, so every time we go out, so that there is us only talk about enjoyment. Like we go out to the cafes, restaurants, or clubs. So when you are not in association, so you are also like like Parth Prabhu said, the temptation that always is always there. So as you put, Prabhuji, I'm not really progressed, like not really advanced. So the temptation is always there, like as you put, that one should develop the taste, the higher taste. But I think the temptation is keeps coming back. So for the certain things, for the like, and for the certain things, I mean, some things is coming easily. It becoming easy for me to, just give it up. But certain things that there are that keep tempting me. So whenever you are not in association, so it keeps coming back. So how can you like avoid those things? So even when I'm living here, I'm going out with friends and all. So whenever there is a temptation, I keep reminding myself that the quote from the quote you shared on our intermediate group, Prabhuji, one of the Maharaj's melos, that where is- so it goes like this, that only one way can be intensive in devotional service, that you should have the art of foreseeing your own conditions on the deathbed. So I actually shared the realization about that quote. So every time is something is very tempting, so I'll just ask the question that, just what happens when you're in deathbed? How does it going to matter? Like, so it just, the even so when I ask these questions, there is no regret that I didn't enjoy that or anything. So I'll just carry on with my things. So that's what I do, Prabhuji. But so the thing I realized, that you should always, always be engaged in thinking about Krishna consciousness, or the all these instructions you have given, the Shital Prabhu has given. So we have to keep remembering these things in our day-to-day activities. Then also the other thing that I realized, that one should, like, I must keep the senses engaged. Like, the true meaning of keeping senses engaged uh, is nothing but like following the regularity principles, and following the regularity principles very meticulously. So here our classes, Prabhupada's lectures, reading, meditating on what I learned, what you taught, like, and like, puja, offering, chanting. So most important is the activity chanting, which keeps you focused and engaged. And one must keep themselves busy 24 hours in with a devotional service. And then I may that if I do that, if I may I will be I will avoid those temptation, and then keep progressing on the devotional path. So the key thing is that you must engage the senses. You must keep your mind busy. So those doorbells, so that doorbells will not be, will not reach your mind. So you just keep your mind busy with your activities and what really matters. So and Prabhuji, this I would like to thank you very much to start this Namata program, Prabhuji. It's just like it is a very important association for us, Prabhuji. Even if it is once a week, it is really imperative for to our devotional service. Like, and there is another quote from Mahavishnu Goswami Maharaj, that we have intimate relationship only with devotional service, But for devotional service, we never come together. And such an intimate connection, even with so-called devotees, is aprasangat, forbidden. If devotional service is absent, such an intimate connection, be it with karmis or devotees, are condemned. So the Namata program is the living example of that, Prabhu. So we must keep the the devotion to Krishna at the core of every activity. So that's how I can keep myself engaged, even if I'm away from the Mamajis, so Mamaji and Mamiji. So that's what I realized. So, and I must follow this and implement it in my life and daily activities. Yeah, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, that's very nice realization. Very good, Mayuresh. Srila Prabhu and Namrata Maharaj is working hard on you. Very good. What is this? You're leaving? You're going?
Yeah, Prabhuji.
Why?
Prabhuji, I had to go back because my father and mother are there. So my father is actually not being able to take care of all the the farms and everything.
Okay.
So I must go back and take
No,
care of them.
no
Yeah.
problem at all. Wherever you are, Krishna consciousness can happen. India is the best place. But it's funny that it started from India, but you will get association in New Zealand. So from India, you have to associate with Sita Prabhu and Namrata Mataji in New Zealand, get instructions from them here. This is Prabhupada's mercy. You see?
It's all goes to you, Prabhuji.
No. All go to Srila Prabhupada.
Yeah.
Because
It's
of him, all this
actually,
is happening.
yeah. It's a Maharaj mercy, Prabhuji, because when Mayuresh, actually, I know, actually, he started chanting, in India, but actually he was looking to do his studies overseas. So he was looking into Europe and everywhere at the time. But I did not want to influence decision to come here. So I left it like that for a long time. But that didn't work out. So I remember, actually, I prayed to Guru Maharaj and Srila Prabhupada that, if you really actually want him to be devotee, please actually make this thing work for New Zealand. And he came here. So it's Guru Maharaj's mercy.
Jai. Perfect. See, you already got mercy. Mayuresh. Very nice. Very nice. So wherever you are, don't worry. We'll miss you, but we'll still, you'll miss us also. But still, we are available here. It's now use technology, Ajagar Vritti, best to our knowledge. All these devotees are from India only, and we are going to be in India now. Once borders open up, it will still take some time. I believe it's not going to be that easy. After all the vaccination is done and borders open, there's going to be more chaos. Once things settles down, I'll be both in New Zealand and India myself, spending time. Avinash will also be spending time both places. So you'll always find us, one of us there. In India, in New Zealand, we're moving around that way. So great, no problem at all. Just pick up the phone, talk to him. Talk to your mama. He'll guide you. You got the best mama in the world. Mama is the best solution, giving best solutions. So you got a best person to give best solution. Not to worry. All the best to you. So when do you go? What's the plan then?
Prabhuji, I think I'm going to book my flight on 15th of November next month.
So soon, huh? Oh wow.
Yeah, Prabhuji.
Okay. All the best to you. Your parents will be
Thank you,
looking
Prabhuji.
forward to it, huh? I thought you would not go.
We're trying to actually ask him to stay until New Year, Christmas, but let's see what happens.
Okay, Jai. All the best to you. All the best. Maybe.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Because your business is there, farming and all that in India is there, So you have to go there to take care.
Yeah, Prabhuji.
Okay. All the best. Yes, please continue. This nectar is flowing now. Very nice.
I thought, Haribol, I thought Namrata Mataji had a plan to get Mayuresh married here, so he could stay longer.
Well, now the government is agreeable. They are not allowing people to go. They are keeping it very easy now. But
Yeah.
parents are there, and yeah, farming is very important. If you're doing farming there, that's very important. Crop protection is very, very critical. Crop protection is very, very important.
Yes, Prabhuji. Yeah.
All the best. All the best. I've got a plan for crop protection. Maybe we should implement with you once you go there.
Yes, Prabhuji. Yeah.
Yes, yes, we'll replicate crop protection everywhere in the world. All the best. All the best. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Yes, please continue.
Hare Krishna. The devotees, thank you all very much for your very nice realizations. I would just like to quickly add on to the realizations given by the youth, Soumya Mataji, Mahesh Prabhu, Prat Prabhu as well. And I thought Prat Prabhu's analogy of temptation and knocking on the door, it was very apt and very relatable as well. So thank you very much for that, Prat Prabhu. And obviously Soumya Mataji spelling out, the issues that a lot of us face as youth, practicing Krishna consciousness, and the same thoughts echoed by Mahesh Prabhu as well. So I know, growing up in Krishna consciousness, and also, I went to Hare Krishna school. So, which was a Gurukul, which was in New Zealand. So, thank you very much, Oprah Winfrey. But I went to Hare Krishna school, so that I had association of, and I still to this day have association of a lot of friends who are also in the Krishna conscious movement. And, we're all, dealing with this, the temptations that you face. Navigating through, your material life, even navigating through your spiritual life as well. So I was just reminded of something my mom always used to say to me when I was growing up in high school, college, etc. That whatever temptation is there, even if you go, there was never any discouragement not to go anywhere, not to enjoy, not to do things. Obviously there are provisions in place that for your benefit you follow, but the idea that my mom particularly said to me was that actually Krishna is always watching, and whenever you don't give into temptation, so you go to a party and everyone's drinking around you but you don't drink, or you don't eat meat, or you don't do don't take drugs, etc. Krishna is always watching that, and there's always a little tick next to you on the check on the book that Krishna has of you. And at the end of your life, when you're on your deathbed, as Mahesh Prabhu said, that you always Maharaj's quote, that you always envision yourself on the deathbed. That always works in your favor, and that transcends good karma, karmic activities. That this is you actively doing something to further your relationship with Lord Krishna by not giving into that temptation. So that really always struck with me what my mom said back then, and it's still applicable to this day. And also my father would always say as well that it's not that you don't do things, you always as he said, the fear of missing out factor. It's better to experience something than to always wallow in the aftermath that you haven't done it, or you haven't experienced it, because that's in fact worse for you. Obviously in regulation and in moderation. So I first of all really respect the fact that all three of you have come on this platform and express this as well, because as I mentioned, it's a sentiment that is echoed by a lot of youth. I'm sure most of the youth that are inclined towards spirituality as well. But from my own personal experience, when you don't give in to temptation, but at the same time you're still with them, and you're still associating with your friends, etc. Even if they perform karmic activities, there's a certain appreciation that that they have of you, and that as my father mentioned, with his work colleagues, etc. But even for people younger than that, people who are like our age, 20s, etc. There's a certain appreciation that they have. They're you're not doing this. We respect that. Obviously, there's people that tease you, etc. But the overriding theme, once the dust settles down, once they get used to who you are as a person, once they see that you haven't you're not a fanatic, you're still the same person, in essence, that respect is there. That little bit of respect is there, which is very important for you to hold on to as well. And that you shouldn't give up association of your friends. Obviously bad association, yes, you give up. If people are indulging in sense gratification all the time, and you find that that's not healthy for you, then you may want to give that up. But your association also helps them as well, because then you start to give your realizations, even if they don't believe you at the time. These things revisit in their minds as well, that why is this person not doing what we're doing, and yet they're still associating with us. They're still we're still having fun with them, etc. So it's it's obviously a very tricky situation, and a very relatable situation. But I just thought I would share that ultimately Lord Krishna is watching, and it is whatever activities that you do, and that you don't give into the temptation. That is always something that Lord Krishna, Guru and Krishna keeps in mind, and it all accumulates towards the end of your life, which is where it matters most. So I just thought I'd share that. Thank you, Hare Krishna.
Very good, Krishnadas. Very nice. Very nice. The ticks. Krishna always watching over. Very nice. Very nice. We also had some questions for today's program. Yes, if you'd like to ask us, it's going to be very nice. To you, Hare Krishna. Also, we've got viewers from YouTube. If you have anything to share, any questions or realizations, just type out in the comment section, and I can read for you. Yeah, please feel free. Yes, please. Who'd like to be the next speaker?
Just a quick thing. About the questions that you said, are these questions that you already received before, and hence people are asking, can we ask questions also?
Yes, something
if you
like
got some questions right now.
Yeah.
So should we postpone it to other time, or if we have just got questions right now, should we postpone it to the other class, or and let the other devotees who have asked the questions before take the turn first?
Okay, you're saying that you also have some questions, is what you're saying?
Yeah, that's
okay.
Yeah.
Okay, you had your realization, so
yes.
We'll answer that question too. Let us complete the whole circle, and then we can do this. No problem. All will have. Yeah, so please feel free if you want to give your realizations or questions. Now is the time, please. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Manji. Actually, I'm a little hesitant to give my realization today because I'm not really formulated at all, because my exams start from tomorrow, my finals start from tomorrow, and I have not yet completed the syllabus at all. So I was a little haphazard this morning, but I have written down some things, and especially from the realizations of the other devotees, it's really inspired me, because this is one of the things that I used to kind of have a lot of trouble with at first, because again, the kind of college I'm from and everything, being from Delhi and Punjab and all things like that. So like almost everyone around me is constantly indulging in all these things. So earlier it used to be a really big problem, as everyone here specified, from my Mataji, Pad Prabhu, Krishnadas Prabhu, and Mayuresh Prabhu, all of you. Like it's honestly really inspiring to say, and like it's kind of, it makes me feel like, yeah, okay, we're all going through the same thing. So it's not, I'm not the only one who's like suffering, although like I'm pretty sure I'm far behind, because I know the kind of things that I'm experiencing on a daily basis. But I wanted to elaborate on this point that it is in whatever endeavor we have, like sincerity always attracts people, like as you said, and that if you're honestly have a certain belief, and if you're sticking to it, then it always attracts people. It always impresses people. It always gains their respect. And with relation to this, I was thinking about a friend of mine, and she's a very good person. But like whenever we have any festival, anything like Independence Day, Raksha Bandhan, whatever festival we have, even though nobody goes out of their way to say anything or do anything, she always messages everyone in her group that Happy Independence Day, Happy Raksha Bandhan, every time. Like it has been 4 years, so every day, every festival that we have, she formulates a very kind message and she circulates it around. And first of all, in the first 2 years, everyone found it a little bit irritating that why is she doing it? Like nobody texts her back and everything. But by the 4th year, I was sitting around with my friends, and all of them, without fail, all of them telling me that, we have to appreciate the kindness and the sincerity, that she doesn't care if we're not texting her back or if we don't wish her. Still 4 years, for 4 years, every little festival, she always formulates a very nice personalized message for everyone and she sends it off. And I was remembering this thing when Shila Prabhu was mentioning about Srila Prabhupada and how he used to, sit at the same tree and used to do kirtan every day. Like that like what my friend is doing is still like just sincerity. But if you add Krishna to that sincerity, just how much more potent that it becomes, right? Like, and I really like that thing that that Mataji has said to Krishnadas Prabhu, that if you every time you resist a temptation, Krishna's watching, and he's like, he puts a tick mark next to your name. Because I'm always wondering that, is whenever I'm doing something, whenever I'm resisting something, whenever I'm stopping myself from doing something, largely it's chocolate these days, because that's the only thing that I'm suffering from. And it's my baby so strong. I was just thinking about this point that I was just very recently, I was doing well. Like I had not eaten chocolate for like a good amount of time. And just right now in my college, they opened a waffle shop and full of ice creams and everything. Literally out of 100 items, 85 items are made up of chocolate. So so it's really, yeah. So I was just thinking about this point that I don't even go in that general direction of that shop just to like stop myself from getting tempted. So it's really motivating to know that Krishna is watching at all times. So it's really important for us to kind of stick to the same principles, because it does reward us, and it takes time. It takes time for you to realize that it's actually affecting the people around you, because like it does affect people around you. Like when you have certain principles, like I've seen that a lot of friends around me, they're like, just because I don't drink when they're with me, so they don't drink just for my sake, because like they see that, okay, she's not drinking, so let's not make things uncomfortable, so we won't drink also. Like when you since you're with us, you won't drink. So things like that. So that really does show. It takes time for them to accept it, but it really does show. And I also had like a little, I'm not sure if this is like, it's not in a serious mood or anything, but I was just thinking about this point that while it's important to follow these regulations, and it's a really good thing that we're able to follow these regulations. But what's more important is to cultivate that sense of devotional service and that attraction and inclination towards Krishna, because otherwise these regulations just stay regulations, right? Like we're just doing these things mechanically. And we always discuss these points a lot of times in Vinas Prabhu's class, and I was just, something funny recently happened to me regarding the same thing, that we were always discussing about. It's important to stay regulated in your life. So actually I have an elder sister, she's 7 years older to me. So she's unmarried right now. So we're finding somebody for her to marry. My parents are finding someone for her to marry. So we found somebody, and we found a guy, and he's doing a really good job and everything that my sister had, like she had these stupid little standards, and he should be taller than 5'9" and things like that, stupid things his family say and stuff like that. Ticked all the marks. And then she also had this like this guy, he had mentioned everything to my parents, that I don't drink, I don't smoke, I don't eat non-vegetarian food. So everyone was really impressed, especially me, because I was he's living in USA. So I was really impressed by that. That yeah, okay, it's like being able to. My sister is also in USA, so like they're both pursuing their jobs over there. So I was really impressed by this. So all of us were kind of really hoping for this to kind of match up. My sister started talking to this guy two weeks ago, and I was really hopeful for this, because he overall seemed like a really impressive personality. So, but then after 2 weeks of talking to this person, she kind of realized that he's a little bit of according to her, she says that he's really proud of not doing these things, and he kind of looks down on other people who are doing these things, and is really dismissive and things like that. So in her words, he was a jerk, quote unquote. So she was like, so she was really upset by that, because everyone was so hopeful. And I was thinking about this point, that even though he's so according to our standards, he's following all the rules and regulations, but still to actually be a kind person, it takes a lot more than that. It actually, to be, I feel like all the good qualities in a whole, they only come if you're engaged in devotional service, because there are a lot of people who are following these things, maybe. Especially in India, you'll find a lot of people, but still they are clouded by false ego and by pride and all these things, until they don't realize. So we a lot of times we discuss these points with in our Saturday class with Avinash Prabhu, that it's not enough to just mechanically follow these regulations. It's also to spend that time with Prabhupada and understand the philosophy and cultivate that love for Krishna. So yeah, that's my realization. And yeah, Hare Krishna.
Very nice. Hare Krishna. Yes. Ultimately, without love for Krishna, everything else is useless. We do it out of our love for Krishna. Very good. Very good. You also had some questions you had said you wanted to ask?
Yes. So, okay. So my question was that actually something had recently happened to me, like that involved me to ask this question. It's that how do we, so especially like right now, having lived in Delhi and then in Punjab, I and a lot of like women like me, we face a lot of misconduct on the behalf of men around us. Some men around us, not all, of course. So like, of course, these are men that we don't know. And I was just like, of course, over the time, I've been given a lot of tips and things about how to deal with these kind of things, because personally, they really trouble me a lot whenever they do happen to me. So I was just thinking that as somebody who's an aspiring devotee, is there any way to deal with these things? That because there are two things that happen to my mind, is that happen in my mind when situations like these are happening. One is that you should be tolerant, and you should just kind of go away from the situation or something. And then the other is that you should not let other people take advantage of you in a way. So yeah, so what's the right way to deal with situations like this?
Okay, right.
And also that these kind of situations can just be generalized, like for the purpose of for the benefit of other people. These kind of situations can be generalized to, when you're in a situation and other people are just someone you don't know is just unduly trying to mess with you, or trying to pick up a fight with you, or trying to disturb you in some way without you having provided any reasonable impetus for them to behave in such a way. So how do we deal with situations like these?
Okay. First thing is that I was thinking about this for some time, and I was proposing to start a separate program for Matajis, where only Matajis will be there, and all Pitajis will not be there, or demons will not be there. So I was thinking, it's up to you. You can think about it, and This program will not be recorded anywhere. It will be by invitation only, and mainly for ladies and young girls, and of course the program Matajis as well. My wife can conduct this, and others also are there, seniors, where you could ask questions, freely amongst women. And as I said, no Prabhus will be allowed to participate. They won't be present. They'll be away. We have done it in the past. We have had physical programs, and with all those devotees have now become big devotees. So now, as it, we've got some youngsters and some new beginners program too. So it is good that we can incorporate that as a program separately. So once a month, I was thinking about it. Think about it. It's still got some time to go. You can give us a feedback as we go. Okay, first thing. So thank you for asking this question, sharing your realizations on this, Divyanshi. We as devotees, there are many answers. Many devotees, many preachers would give you different answers. Okay. I get my inspiration to give answers to this from an incident which Maharaj had told me, and not only once, many times, and I've shared with our senior devotees here. Is that, see, we have come into your lives as Krishna conscious tutors and servants very recently, 2 years, whatever, 2.5 years. But you have your major tutors as your parents and family members. They're very important. So my initial request would be to point you towards them, follow them, but they will tell you what is to be done with regards to your safety. Nothing overrules them. They are the first primary caregivers. We come much later on. Okay. As far as the devotional things are concerned, those activities, it's very important to understand what, if anything helps you to remember Krishna, that is good enough. And you being a lady in a situation, sometimes you may have to, moral situation comes about. So you will have to think on those lines, whether if this is important for you, how strongly you have to hold on to those moral principles. And you can disturb your consciousness by doing that, or helps your consciousness by doing that. So unless it is it's a case-by-case situation, generally we can't give an overall answer to this. Many preachers, I don't want to discredit them. We are just very new, small group, They are very big numbers, huge. Some of them I've seen, they also ask people to go against the parents, to say, don't worry about them. You come into the temple, or come to the program, forget about them. Don't do this, don't do that. I don't say that. Because once one girl had come to Mahavishnu Goswami Maharaj in Mumbai and asked that Maharaj was telling me, and Maharaj said this girl would come and she would ask me this question about her parents, how they were not Krishna conscious, expecting an answer from me to say, yeah, don't worry about them, don't listen to them, you do your things. This was the answer she was expecting. Because Maharaj is a very clever person, So Maharaj said, she said, well, my parents tell me not to go to the temple. What should I do, Maharaj? Maharaj said, don't come to the temple. Krishna consciousness is not only in the temple. Krishna consciousness can be everywhere, including your home, in your room. That's why we say, last week we said, do not restrict devotional service. These are the points. So, when you have a specific instance, let us know. Otherwise, with regards to overall safety and antagonizing for a lady from the society, we firmly believe that you should listen to your parents. They are the best primary givers, much, much better than us. They'll guide you. With regards to devotional service, chanting Hare Krishna in any kind of situation always helps you. Praying to Krishna will always help you. Yeah. And no amount of situation that can be prevailing, it may sound very controversial, but a lady is always at a receiving end in the society, be it Western world, be it non-Western world. It's a fact. Not because it's inferior. That is another misunderstanding people have got. Well, she's always inferior. Not inferior. They're special. Special people always have to have on the receiving end. I'm telling you, this is a fact. I can prove it to you. All of us have got in our family, we've got siblings. If you've got sibling, one elder, one younger. So whoever is clever, stable, intelligent, the parents will tell that person, sibling, to say, you tolerate, no, you are clever, no. This one doesn't understand, so you keep quiet. Do they not say this? Do they not say this? So as I told you, anyone who has got special characteristics will always have to carry the burden of being tolerant, but not at the cost of one's physical and emotional safety. It's not compromisable. That much I can tell you in this overall things. But if something is very specific, which parents cannot solve, I do not know how we can, but you can guide, we can do our best. But is this okay?
Yes, Babaji.
Yeah. That is the best I can do. Because nobody can solve you better than your mother. Especially with Indians, still majority of Indian parents are very loving. I can't say the same about everyone else in the world. Yeah. Is that okay? Okay. Thank you. Yes. Anyone else like to share? Sorry. Anything else you want to say? Something, Devanshi? Is this okay? Is this what you wanted to ask?
Yes, Babaji, that's okay.
Is this was a
That's all.
satisfaction?
Sorry?
Is this okay? You want otherwise?
Yes.
Okay, that's good.
Yes.
That's good. Hare Krishna. Yes, we are a little bit about time, but please, if you want to share realizations or questions, please you can feel free. Mukunda also had something. I think he's having difficulty with coming going. I see him coming going. Parth, you had a question?
Yes, Lord, Hare Krishna. So my question was related to points in point that the Nancy Matani raised in her realization about following the four regulations principles and just following them will not do anything. So and chanting. So my question was that when we are chanting, right, we are mostly trying to clear away with our contaminations. We are at least not we. I do that. So I chant and try to clear away my contaminations. But Prabhu, I guess this is what you. I guess this is my understanding. But again, you can correct me. I guess this is what you call anarthritti, that you are doing away with your anarthas. Obviously, there is devotee association and everything, but chanting, you mostly chant for that. My question was that is doing just anarthritti, like just clearing away the contaminations as of now, is it is it is it just it, or like basically like or do we need to also have a different mood while we're chanting, like apart from just I want to get away with my contaminations, that is it, or do we have a different mood also when we are chanting, like maybe like uh, that to get more service or to get more association, not just to clear away the contaminations but to get more service and association. So maybe these two things go hand in hand. It's like when you are clear with the contaminations, these things will automatically flow with the mercy of Vaishnavas and devotees. Or do you have to cultivate a mood when you are chanting? So that is my question. I hope I was able to put it out. So if you have something that you can ask me and I can clarify. It was not clear.
Thank you. Thank you, Parth. I appreciate your question. Good question. Chanting is done as a prayer and as a request to Radharani to engage us in the service, loving service of her and Krishna. No other reason. The question about removing contamination all these things should not arise. That is not the purpose of chanting. These are the byproducts of chanting. But taking Krishna's names, all these things happen. Sins of unlimited lifetime gone, vanishes. That is not the primary focus. The focus is only one: to re-establish our loving devotional service to Krishna. That is our primary focus and only focus. Yeah? Nothing else. To do that, because we are getting disfocused, we may not be concentrating here. So there's different stages on this, So there is namabhas, stages where, and then, there is Shuddhanam is the active stage, highest stage, when the pure loving service. But it is an expression of love. Chanting is where one is expressing one's love for God. It's a appointment with Krishna, where you are requesting Krishna's energy, which is in him only, but as a separate form, Radharani, to engage me, engage us in her and Krishna's loving devotional service. That's it. This should be the only challenge. While concentrating, this prayer should go on in the chanting. That is a prayer. And that's actually, Prabhupada says, a child crying for the mother and father. So as we concentrate upon the prayer, this is what the mood is about, requesting that I'm doing everything else but doing this. Please help me. Please engage me in yours and Krishna's loving devotional service. Is this all right?
Yes, so, just to follow up if I am in the right position to ask this question, but can you just elaborate a bit on Namabhas and Shuddha, if possible?
Don't worry about it right now, and don't look up for it in the internet also. Namabhas means thinking about the name with contamination. Mixed bhakti. So you are chanting with different things. That's basically Namabhas. You are experiencing this, Shuddhanam is where unalloyed devotional service, unalloyed chanting happens. So those devotees also, once they have got experience, when they become pure devotees, the process remains the same chanting, but the stages and intensity changes. All right. So this is I've given you the answer. This is the answer. It's not that I've not given you the answer. This is what Namabhas Shuddhanam is. Okay, right. And this is the process. We have to complete the process. That's no problem. This is how it is. Chanting of the holy name is to request Krishna through his energy to engage personally, me, like you are chanting, you request for engaging me in yours and Krishna's loving devotional service. That's all. Nothing else should be a prayer. So everything else about Anartha Nivrutti and all those things are byproducts. If it has to happen, it will happen. Actually, it happens, but that is not our main focus. That is why Bhakti Yoga is considered very supreme. Because every other process they talk about, if you do this, your sin will be destroyed, you will get this benefit, you get this benefit. If you're not doing this, you're asking for some benefit. I want this to be removed. That is not love, that is mixed on love, which is also good enough. But what Prabhupada is teaching is only about pure devotional service. And that's what Mahavishnu Goswami Maharaj had always told me. Whoever comes to your program, you just talk about pure devotional service. And I do not know pure devotional service. So I'm repeating the words of acharyas who have experienced pure devotional service. So it is benefiting me, how to follow, and you listening who are you following. That's how it is. Is this okay?
Yes, thank you so much.
Yeah, so if you focus upon this by itself, you'll be satisfied and you'll progress on it. There's nothing else to be done. All our thing, reading, philosophy, should ultimately melt down into this chanting when we do with Krishna. It's one-on-one chanting with Krishna. Appointment with Krishna. Reading, appointment with Krishna. Chanting, appointment with Krishna. Association, appointment with Krishna. These are all our appointments with Krishna. Other things you're very busy with jobs and business and education and friendship and all. You should do. But this is appointment with Krishna. So you're very focused here. Tell me more. Yes, yes. Right. And we should also study so that nobody cheats us. Otherwise, people will cheat you also in devotional service. I will cheat you too. Don't think I'll not cheat you. How will you know I'm not cheating you? If you read Bhagavad-Gita of Srila Prabhupada, Bhagavatam of Prabhupada, then you will know, oh, he's talking what is written here, it's okay then. Otherwise, you will not know. Yeah, I'm also fragile. Young teenagers like you guys. Okay, is it okay? Satisfied? Yeah? Okay, all right. Mukunda, you had some question? Sorry, so you saying something?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Hare Bol.
Yes, we can hear you. Please continue.
So I'm just going to really, it was so nice to hear everyone. I just wanted to still hear and not say anything, but I just I was listening to all the young devotees, and I just wanted to bring about a few points. So Soumya Mataji, and thank you first of all for all of you, to all of you, for sharing your realizations. It's just wonderful, very nectarian. So Soumya Mataji, you know how she was saying that she has this contemplation that you have to, when you're going, you feel that maybe that's not right. And when you're not going also, you feel that that's not right. And I was just thinking just one step that it's, it's progress. Some days back or some years back, we were not thinking like that. But now we're thinking that. So that's progress. To me, that looks like it's progress, that you're thinking, you're contemplating your actions. Then Devyanshu Mataji was talking about the difficulties and how we should be facing it. So we can have that conversation separately as well. Parth Prabhu was explaining about how temptations are there very nicely, very nice analogy. And Mayuresh Prabhu was also talking about how he is going to, maybe a little in terms of being here with us and now not being. So we, as Prabhuji said, we all want to definitely miss you, but the programs are online. So it will be nice to have you online with us. And Krishna Das was mentioning about the stick, and then ticks. And then I was thinking that when Krishna Das was small, he used to like chocolates a lot. And because we were practicing Krishna consciousness, so when he used to go to his kindi or anything at that time, then there would be a birthday party or anything like that. This was when he was like probably 2 years or something, 2-3 years old. And they would have birthday parties and he wouldn't be able to eat the cake and all those things. And then he had to leave. He left eating chocolate when he was very young as well, which probably I wouldn't do if I was so small, But the one thing I really realized is that we never pointed out to him that this is something you can't have. This is something you can't have. That wasn't thrusted upon his mind. And I think we all come to that point. And as everybody was giving realizations, I realized a few things. There was more like giving an option. So you can't have this is not very nice to hear, but you can have this is much nice to hear. So the options were given. And what Srila Prabhupada, like rightly my Prabhuji pointed out, was that, you can do all these things, but the main aim is to develop your love for Krishna. And then everything else can fall into place. As Devyanshu Mataji also rightly pointed out that, you may be doing all these things, but is it actually serving the purpose, what you're trying to achieve? Very good point. So then I thought that, I must have shared this before. Remembered that two things. One thing was when we were young and we used to go to, sometimes we used to go to the village, and then in the village there used to be this temple at the top of the hill. And all our elders used to take us to the hill. And before starting, we were very young, like maybe 7-8 years old or something. And before starting, we used to always ask them the question, how long is it going to take? How many steps are there, And they said, oh, it's okay. It's not going to take too long. We'll come, So they never used to tell us how long it's going to take. And then every half an hour or so, when we were tired, and we used to ask, now how much more, how long? And they said, oh, it's just here. It's just here. I'm sure all of you must have experienced that as well. If not climbing a hill, even walking long distance. And that way we just reached, and then we realized, oh, we've actually, traveled for 2 hours or so. The point I'm trying to raise is that so this is one point. Another thing that I realized also was that when I was working at that time, there was one person who had this addiction of cigarettes. So we were sitting just his desk was just sitting right next to me. And I saw there was a lot of anxiety. And then he would open his drawer and then he would take some, some patch or something. That's what they call it. So I asked him once, I said, what is it that you're doing? So he said, oh, I have a cigarette addiction and I'm trying to get rid of it. So I said, so what is it that you're doing to get rid of it? And he said, oh, these are some patches, which is nicotine, which is actually a, I think, product in cigarette. And so that helps me to get rid of my addiction to cigarette. And I just uttered, usually you wouldn't do that, but it just came out of my mouth. And I said, but you're getting addicted to this thing, whatever it is, And he said, yeah, actually, that's what's happening, because he would be very uncomfortable if he wouldn't have it in his day or whatever. And I just left it at that. And why I brought this here is because I realized that, Srila Prabhupada, when you hear Srila Prabhupada, he's never talking to you about you leave this or you leave that. There's a very famous line that Srila Prabhupada always said, if we raise these points about austerity or anything, what is the difficulty? And one of Srila Prabhupada's very personal servant has written a book on, called What is the Difficulty on this. So there are two things that Srila Prabhupada's lectures, if you hear, he'll always say. One is, what is the difficulty? And the second thing is, they do not know, But so talking about what is the difficulty, I felt that it's how you perceive. You can think about things in life that you cannot do, that you cannot control, or you can think about things in life, what you can do. And I think if you think about the things in life that you can do, then either the things that you cannot do fade away, or you don't even want to do them anyway. So I just feel that personally, this is just from my personal experience. There are things that you can control and things you can't control. We all know that we all know that this is a material world, and the nature of material world is suffering. So we can't get away with it. Like Srila Gurudev says that there's never a soft spot in this material world. And there's another analogy, another experience that I want to share. This probably Sarvasiddhi Mataji will remember this. When we had been to a camp some years back in one of the, in New Zealand, where all the devotees had been for a camp, and we had all tents raised up and everything like that. And we were all very new, because we don't know what are the gears that we need to carry in a tent. So we just carried a tent and we carried a sleeping bag, I guess, and we were all sleeping in there. And the area, the place where we were sleeping, it was not a very even ground. It was all like a little mountains everywhere. So obviously people who knew, they had their camp beds and everything, but we didn't know anything. So we had just carried our sleeping bags and were sleeping. And the whole night we all were just trying to find a position where we could be comfortable and sleep, and that never happened. And then the next morning we were just sharing, this was years ago. So we were sharing that, that it was so hard to sleep. And then when I read this Srila Prabhupada's quote, that there's never a soft spot in this material world, I thought that's so relevant. That's exactly what happened, that we're trying to find that soft spot and it's never going to happen. So sometimes I feel like how we spend our time, how we think, we can think about things that we can do, things that we are doing. And believe me, I mean, I used to eat non-vegetarian food before. I don't have any taste for it. I used to eat onion and garlic. I don't have any taste for it, and so many other things that we have left as well, apart from food, other things as well. And it just happened by focusing on the positive, like in what I should be doing rather than what I cannot do. It definitely helps a lot. So I would just say that for the youngsters, don't be discouraged. You have live examples of all these great devotees in front of you, millions and millions of people who have followed Krishna consciousness and still following Krishna consciousness and have left so many things. It doesn't even matter, I'm just like saying in big terms, it might matter at that time. And the only other thing is that flow with the current, don't go against it. If your thought is telling you, if you feel like, if you have to go to a particular place to please your friends, you can do it. It's fine. Eventually, you may not feel like doing it, but don't force yourself or don't force anything upon yourself. It does not help. It will retaliate even in a bigger way, like a boomerang. So I would just request that just focus on that, and everything else will be taken care of. Krishna also sees how sincere you are, and we all have that realization then in our life that slowly we like Srila Gurudev says, I'll end with this, that you have to look upon your life, you have to look past, like, how was I 1 year back, and is there any change in a positive way? Yes, then I'm making progress. So that should be our benchmark. Hare Krishna.
Thank you very much, Pranavayadasi. Very nice. Very nice. It's very good what you shared. Now we are half an hour above our time. Mukunda is coming and going. He had some questions to raise. He's not there now. Anyone like to say something? Anything burning? We are open to that, and we will close the program after that, please.
I'd quickly like to take 1 minute. I know Parth and Divyansh got exam, and I don't know about Soumya. She's also giving exams.
Yes,
So,
you guys are. Absolutely.
so young devotees, the idea given by Amrish Prabhu about Mataji's class and particular relations given by Punya Bhagna Mataji, they are so practical. I've got practical experience. My daughter, she's only probably on the YouTube watching us, and she appreciates Mataji so much. She said she played so much role in my career, in my life. We joined when I had no idea what Krishna consciousness is, and similar kind of question, maybe more challenging questions. And that time Mataji personally guided my daughter after Namahat, and she's a different person altogether. So that's what Krishna consciousness has done to us. So that's a living example for all the budding devotees, and we're all doing good. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna. So far, my whole idea is this, that especially for ladies, for young girls there, you experience one side of us only. You're very impressed. You have yet to see the next or second 50% only you have seen. The second 50% is all our strength, the backbone, are all our ladies. You can see them covering their hair, sitting quietly, but they are very well prosperous and very qualified people, and they are even amongst the society of devotees. They take their guidance actively to say, what do we do, how do we solve this, be it personal, job, whatever it is. So I was thinking it'll be very nice where you also will have some bonding amongst each other if you want to, don't know each other well, and they also are very qualified philosophically, as you know, and as you understand. So think about it. We'll start in a few months. We're not starting immediately, but I want you to keep this in your mind, and we will start with this process, So yeah. Okay, wonderful. Thank you. Anyone else would like to say anything, please? No? Mahesh, we're missing you, man.
No, Prabhuji, I'll be there on the big programs.
Yes, 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 yes. But our personal programs will be there, the Festival of Krishnas and all that, you know.
You're coming to India, Prabhuji.
Yes, yes, Krishna willing, you know, who knows? You
Yeah,
know?
Prabhuji.
Even if I don't come to India, if I die, then we meet somewhere else sometime, you know. We'll have an
Yeah,
association.
Prabhuji.
If Prabhupada wants it that way, Srila Gurudev wants it that way, you know. Yeah, very nice. All the best. Okay, so I'll wait for a few more seconds. If anyone wants to say something, please feel free. No, all right, wonderful. I think we had a very good session today. Very good realizations. So let us complete our conversation today with our prayers. And who's going to sing? There she is ready. हाँ सुभद्रा कैसे हैं आप ठीक हैं हाँ माधव also is here Hare Krishna Subhadra Hare Krishna Subhadra Hare Krishna Madhav very good okay you can start now 1 2 3 start
Maharaj, please hear us. Maharaj, please hear us. We have learned some real good stuff. We have learned some real good stuff. Maharaj, we have learned one thing. Maharaj, we have learned one thing. And today for you, we will sing. And today for you, we will sing. If our room is clean, then our mind is clean. If our mind is clean, then we can do anything. If our room is dirty, then so are we. But if we are dirty, we're not happy. Wasting time is the greatest crime. Because wasted time means a wasted mind. The best is your time. When you're in your prime. In your whole life. Will be sublime. If our room is if your wealth is gone. Then there's nothing wrong. If your health is gone. That's a different song. But if your character dies, then the world will cry. Sadly behave now. That's a humanity try. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, We must always remember Krishna. And never forget him too. But how are we to practice this with so many things to do? That is the greatest question. And here's the greatest clue. You must learn to remember to. You must learn to that Krishna remembers you. So listen very closely. And make your thinking sharp. Let's learn how we can live in life so Krishna won't depart. If something due tomorrow, finish it today. Whatever's due today, Do it now, don't delay. Do it now, don't delay. Your friend might be lazy. Your friends might be lazy. Or doing bad things. But you think again. Don't follow them. And you will win the end. Whatever work we're given. We do our really best. We only live with what we need and give Krishna the rest. This is how to live, to work and to play. You'll learn this way if you every day. This is how to live, to work and to play. You learn to live this way. We'll sing Krishna every day. And when time is up, he'll take us up above. We'll sing and dance with him with a heart full of love. And when the time is up, take us up above. We'll sing and dance with him with a heart full of love. You chant Krishna's name, his glory and his fame. He's the only and his love who can never be contained. So chant Krishna's name, his glory and his fame. It's the only and his love who can never be contained. Now bring us this greatest question. And find this greatest clue. You can only remember Krishna. You can only remember Krishna. If Krishna remembers you. If Krishna remembers you. Hare Krishna, Hare
Jai His Holiness Srila Mahavishnu Goswami Maharaj Srila Gurudev Ki Jai. Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Shri Ananta Koti Vaishnava Ki Jai.
Jai.
Shri Nitai Gaur Chandra Premanande Hari Hari Bol. Namo Vishnu Padaya Keshavastaya Bhutale Srimati Mahavishnu Goswami Namine. Namo Vishnu Padaya Keshavastaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Goswami Namine. Namaste Saraswati Devi Gaur Mani Prasayane Nirvishesha Sundavadi Prasachati Stanine. Hare Krishna. So all the best to all of you, and all the best to Divyanshi, Parth, Samya, who have got their exams tomorrow. My God, all the best to you. I'm sure you will do very, very well. We'll see you next week, same place, same time. Till then, chant Hare Krishna and be happy.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.